Oh, man. Well, we almost had him. Wow. I don't really know where to start. Credit to Milwaukee. They're the best team in the NBA for a reason. Obviously, they played outstanding tonight. They shot the ball at an unbelievable clip for the first 3.5 quarters, it felt like. And we could not throw the ball in the ocean. From a possession standpoint, we took 5 more field goals than them, 18 more free throws than them. We got 20 offensive rebounds. We could not get the ball to go in the basket. We made a lot of poor decisions at the rim with Brook Lopez. The best rim decision we made the whole game was Micah Potter in the fourth quarter when he got in the lane, planted on 2, shot faked. Brook jumped and he wrapped it around him on the dump off. So, it's a great learning moment for our team because that's where we want to be. We want to be at the level of that team. And sometimes in the NBA, it feels worse than it is when teams shoot the ball incredibly well. And so, my perspective on this game is that I do think that we tried. I think the intent was there. I thought, again, we made some bad choices at the rim. Grayson Allen got off to an incredibly hot start, and, their team shot the lights out for 3 quarters from the three-point line. So they deserve a lot of credit because they played a great game, and we move on to the next one. I'm very glad that we get to play again tomorrow.
They shot the ball really well, but they also had 50 threes. I have to imagine that's not a number that you like very much.
When we play the zone, we're trying to protect the rim and encourage above the break threes that are contested. And again, tonight they made them all. Connaughton hit them. Grayson got off to a hot start. Drew, I thought, Drew is an incredibly talented player. I thought the threes he hit were really hard. They're like side steps with people in his face. Javon Carter hit a couple tough ones off the dribble. When we played Boston and we played Sacramento, both of those teams shot over 50 threes in those games too, and we played a bunch of zone. And so, it becomes a very hard game when we can't get the ball to go in the basket. You're playing in transition a lot, and it puts you in a tough situation against a team like that. Giannis in transition, they have shooters. Drew Holiday's a great decision maker. We'll go back and watch the defense with the team and try to figure out areas that we can be better. But if a team makes 22 out of 50, and I feel like they missed a bunch late. It was a higher percentage than that when I looked up with about 10 minutes to go. So. The threes don't bother me as much as 58 points in the paint. They hit some floaters and some jump hooks and some of those plays, but Giannis is MVP candidate for a reason. Brook Lopez never gets enough credit. His size, his touch, people forget that he was an all-star in the NBA as a back-to-the-basket big when he was playing for the Nets. He has an incredible skill set, good footwork, and he's huge. They played a great game. Their team was very well-rounded tonight.
On the bright side, Simone, 26 points, and not all threes. He was attacking the basket as well. Are you happy with his play?
Yeah, Simone is somebody that we obviously encourage to shoot threes, but especially guys that come over from overseas, when they're good shooters, sometimes they get labeled a little bit like that's the only thing they do. And we've seen Simone show flashes of a lot of athleticism this year on both ends of the floor. He's had some big blocks, driven the ball well to the rim with some dunks, and he has more to his game. I would describe him as a scorer, not just a shooter. He finds his pull-up. He's been working a lot on his floater. And has had some varied success in games. So, I'm happy for him when he can find an array of shots. I don't ever want his life to just become shooting threes. It's a hard way to play, to only shoot threes.
When you say that this is a good game to learn from because you want to be where they are, what did they do that most stands out to you about where you would like for this team to go?
Yeah, I mean, their physicality, obviously I can't make our players bigger, but they do such a good job with their body position on both ends of the court. And because of that, if you're not super sharp on both ends, but in particular, like when we're playing offense, if we're not super sharp with our decision making, like they expose you. And I think that's what happened at the rim tonight. Like we didn't make some of the right reads at the rim, and they expose you. And Brooke ends up blocking 7 shots and altered 8 more. When you play a team like that, what I mean by like we want to be where they are. We want to be at their level of detail on both ends. And I just think tonight it showed us like we have a lot of work to do. There's still so much positive that like I thought we had moments where we did good things and didn't convert the play. I thought Ochai, who's been playing great as of late, he went 1 for 8, but I thought the shots he took were good ones and he just missed. And sometimes that's the way it goes. So, we'll obviously use this film as an opportunity to teach like we always do, and try to continue to sharpen up all those details. Like you play a team like that, if you have any slippage, like they expose it, and I thought they did that tonight.
How do you guys flush this and kind of, obviously the game comes in less than 24 hours, but, mentally, how do you guys flush this and move on?
Yeah, I mean, we use a little humor, and we just try to be particular about what we're going to coach tomorrow morning when we meet the team. The worst thing we could do is make tomorrow morning this long, drawn out, here's, the 17 keys to winning basketball. Like, we need to pick one area probably on either side of the court and try to sharpen that up tomorrow night. And those are discussions we have as a staff when we watch the film. It's about prioritizing what's most important now. And so we'll look, and it could be our transition defense, and it could be rim decisions, for example, like off the top of my head. But then when we watch the film, maybe something else stands out that's more important, and we just try to be selective about what we show the team. You can't talk about everything every day. They can't retain all of that info at one time and then do the scouting report for the Kings tomorrow. It's a moment as a coach and as a staff where we have to just recognize like how much information any person can process at one time. We're excited that we get to play tomorrow night because that helps flush it. Like the second the ball goes up, we won't be thinking about the Bucks at all. So let's pick one thing on either side of the ball and try to learn from tomorrow morning, and then let's try to prepare to play the Kings and go out and try to play a good game.
I understand the situation and everything that went into tonight in the fourth quarter, but it was the first time that you got to see like a really actual look in person of Jarrell. Mm-hmm. What did you think about him before?
I love his physicality. I think it stands out on both ends. I thought he had a really nice drive to the rim and finish. Showed a willingness to shoot the three, especially with his feet set. We drew one for him where he was on the move, and he took that one and drove it. And when he caught the ball with his feet set, he did a good job and let it fly. So, I thought he handled himself well. I really just liked his physicality, defensively switching. He's able to get underneath guys with his strength and hold them off, and did a good job on the glass. So, I thought his 12 minutes were good.
You mentioned shooting those threes on the move. Simone seems like a guy who is really good when he's like coming around the top of the screen. Just like, he doesn't have to be set. How valuable is it to have a guy that can actually shoot those shots? Yeah,
it's incredibly valuable. When we talk about three-point shooting in the NBA now and how important it is, some of the best shooters, yes, they make shots, but the most impressive thing is how many they can get off. Like Steph Curry is the premier shooter in the league, and his greatest skill is his ability to get threes off in tight windows with an array of footwork going both ways. And so if we want to shoot threes, which we do, and if we want to get good shooters like Simo, more threes, we have to help them work on, and he already has a lot of ability to get a variety of threes. there aren't 8, 9 like stand still catch and shoot threes out there for good shooters. Like no team is going to let you do that. So you have to have the ability to use a variety of footwork. So he's done a really good job on the move. He's very athletic, like I said, and he's able to find balance well. Like he has a good wide base. So it's a huge luxury for us because when we're trying to manufacture threes, it sounds good to say like we just play drive kick, and we'll just shoot catch and shoots, but it doesn't always work that way.
So Doak had another good night tonight. This might be the best week of his career so far. What are you seeing from Doak?
Physicality is huge. Great screen setter. He's hard to move around the basket. Like when he goes to the glass, when he catches the ball underneath, like he's such an explosive athlete vertically. He goes to dunk the ball any opportunity he has, which is why he ends up shooting free throws as well. I just think he's done a really good job of playing off of his teammates. Obviously, we're not calling a ton of plays for Doak right now, and he's found ways to present himself for drop-offs around the rim, attack the glass on both ends, and he's really just played solid basketball, and it's allowed him to produce.
So in like practices, shoot around, like what have you seen that's maybe kind of, are you seeing that like as you watch him that it looks like it's clicking and like mentally for him that's leading into this?
Yeah, I think Doak's done a really good job of trying to stay ready all year. He's had a year where he hasn't had a ton of opportunity, and recently based on matchups and who's available, he's been working really, really hard, and we wanted to get him opportunity to play, and he's handled himself great. Like I think I mentioned this 2 games ago, where not having played a ton of minutes in games, to be able to play long stretches, 9-minute stretches, is no small feat. Like he's done a really good job of keeping himself in great shape. He worked really hard with our assistants and our development team, the performance coaches. Like he's taking care of his body. And he stayed ready for his opportunity. And so it's always nice to see a guy who's stayed ready without opportunity finally get that chance and then go out there and produce.
Good. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.